Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead. Today we're going to work with citrus fruit. And we're not just going to work with the fruit, we're going to work with the whole fruit, including the peel. And I have two things I'm going to be doing with the peel. And the fruit itself I'm going to dehydrate. Now, being Canadian, I didn't know how versatile citrus fruit is. I just eat it, you know. But I've been doing some research. And first off, I'm going to start by dehydrating the fruit itself. So here I have some navel oranges, some tangerines, and some lemons. And all I'm doing with these is I'm putting a little slice and I'm cutting off the peel. Now, you may think I'm silly for being so careful about cutting this particular peel off, but if the peel is nice, I'm going to make candied peel, because I hate buying candied peel to make my fruit cakes in the winter time. For one simple reason, the last time I bought candied fruit, I noticed some of the pieces were really hard. And so I looked at the ingredients, and the ingredients were that the candied peel was actually 90% rutabaga, candied turnip, for God's sake. So that just turned me right off. I love turnip, but in its place, folks, in its place. On my dinner table, mashed with brown sugar and some butter and some salt and pepper. Now I'm doing my best to take the peel off this tangerine slice because tangerines are really sweet, and I want to have these lovely dehydrated fruits, not only to be dehydrated, but to be pretty. So we're just going to put these on the dehydrator tray. Now be extra careful, folks, that when you're slicing your fruit for dehydrating, that you make it a uniform thickness so that it all dries at the same time. Now, these pretty slices are what I'm going to use for my candied peel. These are going in the dehydrator. Now, the peels that, you know, aren't so appealing, we're going to put in a jar. We're going to make sure there's no fruit on them. So let's just get this bit of fruit out of the end here. And we're going to we're going to fill this jar, hopefully, oops, yummy, with fruit peels. This, my friends, is going to make your orange spray cleaner. I kid you not. A friend of mine told me about it, and it takes 2 weeks, so it's a patience thing. But she said it took the iron water ring off her hot tub. Can you believe that? So we're going to fill this jar with citrus peels, and then we're going to cover them with white vinegar, and we're going to put them on a windowsill and let them sit for 2 weeks, and the vinegar will pull the acidic citrus oils out of the peel, and Bob's your uncle. Hopefully we're going to have some cleaner. But when this is done, we'll do a follow-up on that, because obviously it's going to take 2 weeks. These, the prettier peels, the unblemished peels and the nicely uniform sliced ones, we are going to use for candying. So that is what is on today's agenda. All right, we'll be back later when these are dehydrated and we start the candying process. We have a tray and a half of tangerine slices, 2 trays of orange, and a half a tray of lemon slices. I only had 2 lemons. And we're going to put these on the dehydrator, and we're going to set the dehydrator for 135 degrees, and we're just going to let them do their business for about 12 hours. These we're going to set aside because later today when I get home we're going to start our candy peel process. This is a labor intensive process. It takes a couple of days, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it. And for my friend Carol and her husband Clark, we are going to make this orange cleaner. And all I'm doing is I'm covering these peels with white vinegar. And we're going to set this in a sunny windowsill for 2 weeks. Now the purpose of this is to extract the citrus oils from the peels. So what we're going to have is, when we're done, is this vinegar is going to be a cleaning product. And if it doesn't work as a cleaning product, which I'm sure it will because it's already been tried, but if it doesn't work as a cleaning product, you can always put it in a spray bottle and spritz a rag and throw it in your dryer as fabric softener, scented fabric softener. Because I always I just use vinegar in my dryer, so this will be interesting. All right, folks, we'll be back later when it's time to start the candied peel process. Okay, on to making candied peel. Here we have all our lemon, tangerine, and orange peels, and they're in a pot of cold water, and we're just going to turn this on high and bring it up to a boil, and we're going to let it boil for 2 minutes. Then we're going to drain, fill it up with cold water again, and then boil it again, and then drain. This is to remove all traces of bitterness. So we'll be back when I've boiled these twice for 2 minutes. Now our citrus peels have been blanched, not twice but 3 times, and we've left the pith on. There are other ways to do it faster and simpler, but faster and simpler is not always better when it comes to flavor. Now we're going to make a simple syrup out of 4 cups of sugar, and I am using organic sugar for one simple reason, is the peels are not organic. So I'm trying to well, let's just put it this way. I couldn't get organic oranges, but I could get organic sugar, so at least my end product's going to be half organic. And we're just going to bring this to a boil until all the sugar dissolves. And when that's done, we're going to put our peels in, and we're going to simmer them slowly for about an hour. But right now, we're just going to bring this to a boil. And to our 4 cups sugar, 2 cups water, nice spring-fed well water, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I don't know why, but that's what the recipe calls for. So, when this is all dissolved, we will be back to put in our peels. Now, I forgot that I was all ready to go to the syrup stage, and I forgot that these have to be blanched 2 more times. But first, we have to remove the pith, or most of it. Because we've boiled them 3 times, like blanched them 3 times, you don't have to remove all the pith, because the previous 3 blanchings have taken a lot of the bitterness out. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the pith, or some of it anyway, and then we're going to blanch these 2 more times for a total of 5 blanchings. Like I said, there's easier ways. I've seen people just cut away the pith, like peel the fruit, cut away the pith, blanch them, then boil them in syrup, and but they don't look as nice. And I bet you dollars to donuts the flavor isn't going to be as nice either. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to rinse and repeat. In other words, cover these in cold water, bring them to a boil for 2 minutes, then drain, cover them with cold water, and boil them for 2 minutes again. And then we are going to add them to our cooked simple syrup and cook them for about an hour. But when we get to that point, okay, now we've scraped most of the pith off, but we've left some to keep the peel nice and thick, or thicker than you normally would, because when we boiled it 3 times, we took out the bitterness. So now we're going to blanch it 2 more times. So that means put it in cold water, bring it to a boil for 2 minutes, drain, and then we will do it again. And when we do that, then we will cook it in our simple syrup. We'll be back. Okay, our deep pith peels have now been blanched twice again. Now we have it in our simple syrup. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to a boil. And then we're just going to let it simmer. And we're not going to stir it too much because we don't want our peels to break up. We're just going to kind of make sure it stays in there. And we're going to let it simmer for about an hour. And when we get it so that it's simmered for an hour and the syrup is reduced by half, we'll be back for stage, I don't know what stage it is, but the next step anyway. All right, we'll be back. Okay, our fruit peels now have been simmering for about an hour. And what we've got is this lovely, opaque, almost translucent, transparent. You can pretty much almost see right through that peel. See the light come right through that? We're going to let this cool, and we're going to let this soak in the simple syrup overnight, and then we will take it to the next step. All right, see you tomorrow. Morning, friends. We're on our final stage of our candied orange peels. Now I just want to show you, there's my dehydrated oranges and tangerines. I would have had a lot more, but I had a friend over for tea and well, we got munchies. So, and here is my dehydrated lemon. And here is those other orange peels that are soaking in white vinegar. And I don't know if you can see it, but that color of that vinegar is already going orange after only 24 hours. So that should be interesting. Alrighty, now we have our granulated organic sugar, and in the pot here, these have been soaking overnight, and it's just a wonderful gooey mess of orange peels. So let me get a fork, and what we're going to do is we are just going to run these through a fork just to get the extra goo off, and we're going to toss them into the sugar. Might be easier if I just press it out on the board, eh? Any extra of the sugar syrup is going to be probably flavored with orange. Well, it's good. So I'm going to save it in a jar for herbal teas, because it'll make a nice sweetener for herbal teas. Like, I'm not going to waste it. Look at that. Isn't that just lovely? Isn't that lovely? We're just going to put them on the dehydrator. And we're not really going to dehydrate them so much as we are going to allow them to dry on one of the lower settings of the dehydrator. These are just coming out beautiful. We don't want too much of the syrup though, or it won't dry. So I just slide the fork down. Some people use their fingers, and if I get a piece that won't fit in the fork, I'll use my fingers. But in the meantime, the fork seems to be working just fine. Okay, me and my big mouth. There we go. We want all the excess syrup off, or they'll be too sticky to store. Let me just shuffle these around. Get them nicely and well coated with the sugar. Oh, these are going to be wonderful. They'll probably get eaten instead of put in fruit cakes. All right, we'll be back when all of these are sugared and in the dehydrator. Now that we're almost done sugaring our peels, and they do look just absolutely yummy. And by the way, they are absolutely yummy because I couldn't wait. I had a few. You don't want these to dehydrate to the point of brittleness like you would some dehydrated foods. So we're going to put the dehydrator on the lowest setting because we basically want them to air dry, and we want them to be chewy, not crunchy. So when we're done that, also the simple syrup that's left over has now been infused with orange flavor. I don't know if you can see this, but it is a lovely orange golden color, like dark honey. So I have plans for that syrup. You can use that And it does taste like citrus. You can use that simple, leftover simple syrup for, oh, glazing a duck, glazing a ham. Once these are all on the dehydrator, we're just going to turn them down real low on the lowest setting, and we're just going to let the air play over the fruit peel for 12 to 24 hours. There it is, folks, the candied peel. And I think at Christmas time, this is going to make a wonderful addition to my fruit cakes once it's all diced up. Yummy. And I've been eating it, and it is really good.